Welcome back to the review space. This is the SmackDown review. SmackDown live from last night, September 27, 2016. Let's begin really quickly. We kick off SmackDown live with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt promo. This was basically Orton. He's inside the ring calling Bray Wyatt somebody who's afraid of him, basically. Wyatt appears in the Titantron. Typical backstage thing where he's talking, he's sitting on a chair, talking creepily. He brings out this hourglass. Looked kind of cool, and Randy wanted to... Basically, if Randy wanted to hurt him, he has to hurry. Randy has to hurry because the sands of time wait for no mortal man. And then he starts singing in the creepy, "He's got the whole world in his hands" song. This is all supposed to be very spooky and eerie, but I can't help but think of Prince of Persia, the video game, when he mentioned the sands of time. That's the first thing that popped in my head. Randy Orton heads backstage. Dean Ambrose cuts a quick promo about AJ Styles, says he'll break AJ's face, and even takes shots at John Cena being old news. The crowd kind of got into it. They were cheering Dean Ambrose. But also, when he appeared on screen initially, some people kind of booed him too. And so maybe some people are buying into his more heelish attitude, I guess. We got the Ascension and the Usos take on the American Alpha. And Slater and Rhino, this is basically an 8-man tag team match. The Usos come out to new entrance music, and it sounds very trappish, very thuggish, but also has this aggressive kind of hard-hitting thing, kind of like those old crump beats from the early 2000s by J-Squad and all that. The heels working on Chad Gable. Gable was basically, he was selling a lot here, but I felt like it was a little too unrealistic. He does this every time now. He basically takes forever to get the tag. He's crawling on the mat, and he's acting like he's 500 pounds weighing him down, and he's so slow and he's so sluggish, and he takes forever to get the hot tag. You know, he's supposed to be the smaller, quick guy between him and Jason Jordan. So I mean, he's supposed to be quick. He's supposed to be like at least like move your ass. You know what I mean? Regardless, Slater got the hot tag. Heath Slater got the crowd going. The crowd was really into it. Got a big pop. But the Usos in the Ascension, they turn the tables and get the win. The Usos hit their, you call it the calf kick or whatever the hell you call it, the ankle breaker, or the, I don't even know what you call it, the injury kick. And then they were able to get the freaking submission move, the Tequila Sunrise. We get a quick shot of Miz and Maurice at the halls of the arena next to a wall of LeBron James celebrating his accomplishments. And then the Miz, he brings in this guy who put a picture of Miz over the LeBron James image. And the crowd was booing very loudly, which was actually pretty funny. I had to watch this at least a few times. I thought it was just really comical. Carmella and Natalya defeating Nikki Bella and Naomi. It was pretty much a typical, like, sloppy women's match, a divas match. The offense and the moveset of the women were kind of off. Yeah, they just seemed a bit off tonight. Something was not 100% with these people. I don't know if it's because of Carmella. Yeah, she seemed to be, like, her moveset is so unimpressive, and she seems so awkward, and her offense, I don't know what it is about Carmella. She just seems kind of half a step off compared to the rest of the women. She gets the roll-up pin on Nikki, and man, I was a little bit surprised by that. I was like, oh my god, she was able to pin Nikki again. I guess they're really trying to make her into this credible heel. The best part of the whole thing, honestly, was the entrances. Naomi's dancing and everything was cool. It's just, when Naomi comes out, and she's got her outfit on, and it's very glow-in-the-dark, her glasses are also kind of cool. They're also glowing, but they seem to be just really distracting from her actual dancing. She'd come out, she has the glasses on, she has to take off her glasses when she does her moves because I guess it gets in the way, or it might fall off from her face. And also her hair gets in the way. So the whole thing is really cool. Her entrance is one of the best so far, but she doesn't have to use the glasses, you know what I mean? She doesn't have to do that, and maybe she can tie her hair back as she goes into the ring, because she's supposed to be dancing like crazy, but her hair gets in the way, and she has to hold her glasses, and it's kind of distracting, and it takes away from her entrance. Alright, we see Randy Orton backstage looking for Bray. He's on the hunt for Bray. And he inadvertently kind of locks Eric Rowan into a janitor's closet. Eric Rowan is on the other side. Randy Orton is kind of like, he's trying, he might open it, he's on the fucking other side of the door. He's thinking twice about going in or something like that, and he fucking just locks the door, basically. And Eric Rowan, this is all supposed to be like really spooky, but the crowd laughed when Eric Rowan couldn't open the door from behind, and he was basically locked from behind the door. We get a great segment between Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Miz came out first. He was gloating about being the Cleveland champion, and he's the hometown hero and all that, and he's not like the traitor LeBron James, and he even addressed his parents in the crowd. His parents were in the freaking crowd. His dad with his goofy dad that has that goofy look in his face. He looks exactly the same the last time that they showed his dad. His parents they've been shown over the years. I don't know, like 2-3 years ago, something like that. Maybe 4 years ago, as far back as 4 years ago, maybe 3 years back. But yeah, like there was a big internet meme back then when his dad appeared on screen and Miz was getting his ass whooped or something like that it might have been by John Cena. And his dad just didn't care. He just had that look on his face, and it looks exactly the same as he did back then. Now, with the aging what do you call it? Kind of like a hippie look, or just like a 70s look, I should say, like an aging 70s guy look. Miz also pointed out that Dolph Ziggler's parents were in the crowd, so they were actually sitting somewhere nearby, also behind the barricades. Miz basically verbally broke down Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler came in as Miz was addressing his parents. He called Dolph Ziggler's career mediocre, which is true to a certain degree, and that Dolph is basically this perpetual loser. He's always losing. And he walked away. Ziggler was in tears, says he wanted one more title match for the IC Championship. He was very passionate about this. And if Dolph Ziggler lost, his career is basically done in the WWE, so it's career versus title match, basically. And Miz couldn't help himself. He's like, you know what? I agree. Let's do this. He agreed to the match stipulation at No Mercy, and he wants to be the guy to end Dolph Ziggler's career. So, I would like to think that Dolph Ziggler's going to win this, but a part of me also feels almost like everything that they said was pretty much true, and that Dolph should be out of WWE. He's done everything. He's won the World Championship. He's been in big matches. I think he's won the Survivor Series. He's won the IC Championship a lot. He's been around for like 12 years or something like that. So it's almost like, yeah, he's had a pretty good career. He's done better than some guys, a lot of the mid-carders out there, but it's like, what else can he do? And if Dolph Ziggler is gone tomorrow from the WWE, it's like, I'm not gonna miss him, but I'm gonna be like, yeah, he was underrated. He was kind of underrated. He was pretty good, and good for him. Like, see you later, Dolph. I'm not really gonna like super miss him. It's not like some of the other guys that leave. Maybe like if when The Rock left in the early 2000s, I missed him. When Austin retired, I missed him. Certain guys like Bret Hart, when he freaking went to WCW, he was definitely missed. With Dolph Ziggler, he's just this mid-card guy, and it's like he never really was pushed to the top. He had some good matches, and he's like one of the best sellers they had, but I'm not a big fan of his mic skills either. Like, he's okay on the mic, he's a good talker, technically, but his voice, I'm not a fan of his voice. He has that really high-pitched, whiny voice that, I'm Dolph Ziggler and I gotta be the champion, and Miz, I'm gonna beat you tonight. He's got that high-pitched, weak voice, and he doesn't have that oomph to his voice, that big bass, grown man voice, and it is what it is. Becky Lynch theme music hits. Ooh, she heads out with the SmackDown Women's title around her waist, looking really cool, and then she gets jumped from behind by Alexa Bliss. Boom! Just blindsided Alexa, removing Becky's title when she's on the floor, and then she doesn't, saying that basically Becky doesn't deserve the championship. She throws it back to Becky's fallen body and heads backstage. Here's the thing with Alexa. I think that she's too small. She's petite. I don't take her seriously when I look at her. I feel like her size is the one thing that holds her back from being any kind of like a dominant female superstar, the way that Chyna used to be, or Beth Phoenix used to be back then. I guess Trish Stratus was also kind of short back in the day, but to be honest, I never took Trish Stratus that seriously either. I never looked at Trish as this amazing women's champion or this credible women's wrestler. She was pushed to the moon back in the early mid-2000s, but I never really thought that Trish was this amazing diva. And at least Lita back in the day had the high-flying moves. She was like a rock star. She had a ton of charisma. Just her presence. The other women back in the day, like Ivory, she was like a pit bull. She was like this technical, really good heel wrestler. Women like Victoria, she was very believable. Victoria was a powerhouse. I mean, she was underrated in WWE, but she was great. So Trish back in the day was this hot blonde chick. Hot blonde girl that used her sex appeal to really get over. And in some ways, I think that Alexa Bliss is like the new modern version of Trish Stratus. And I think that Alexa is basically this hot model, but she's not what I call a convincing badass female. So I just don't buy into her quite yet as a believable, fucking awesome, like amazing heel badass. Randy Orton finally attacking Bray backstage. He's wearing Rowan's sheep mask, and everything was like really kind of dark. The lighting was dark. It was basically a quick little segment, and then Bray, he scurried off, and then Randy Orton sat in the chair. I guess this could be Orton's new gimmick. He could be like this masked Viper creep, and he's just like stalking people backstage. I can see that working, and he would probably pull it off a little bit better than the actual Wyatt family. AJ Styles going up against Dean Ambrose, defending his WWE title. John Cena is guest commentary ringside, and the announcers were playing up Cena's quest to the Ric Flair's record of 16-time world champion. At some point, AJ Styles attacked John Cena. Cena basically distracting the referee. Dean couldn't get the pin. Dean attacked Cena. AJ gets the dirty fucking pin. AJ retained the WWE title, and Cena hit Dean Ambrose with an AA. Hit him with the AA. He was just like aggressive with it. AJ tried to attack Cena. He hit fucking AJ with the AA and posed with the WWE title, and it's like, oh my god, he's got the championship. This is the photo op, which probably means that he's got a 99.9% chance of not becoming the 16-time champion at No Mercy, at least. So I don't think he's going to win at No Mercy, but he was definitely talking about it. And as far as him being 16-time champion, it's all a work. I mean, obviously, it's just this number that they want to throw out there. They want to market out there. With Ric Flair, from what I understand, Ric Flair isn't a 16-time champion. That's what WWE says, but in reality, in the real thing, Ric Flair won a world championship more than 16 times. He's like 20-something, whether it's like 21 or 22 or something like that, just a much higher number than 16. But WWE tends to just use the 16 marketing thing. That's their chosen record that they put out there. So that's fine, I guess. But like with John Cena, and that's another big thing with Cena, is that he never wrestled in different territories. He never wrestled outside of the WWE. He was always just a WWE guy for the past like 13, 15 years. And with Ric Flair was in many different territories. He was in various different venues, different areas, different regions in across the world. And so he was a champion in different companies. WCW, NWA, freaking WWF back in the day. So I mean, he was a champion in multiple companies, not just one. And it was a different time back then. With Cena now, with a 16-time thing, I don't really find it. It's not like a huge deal that he would tie Ric Flair's record. It's not a big thing to me because it's just a complete. Like Cena, to me, I've never been a Cena fan. I've never been a mark for Cena. I never really liked his stuff aside from maybe his promos here and there are pretty cool. especially back in the early 2000s when he had the rapping thing, when he was doing the battle rapping thing. I thought that was kind of funny, but especially like his gimmick for the past 10 years or whatever, he just hasn't been a compelling character for me. And so him being a 16-time champion, it doesn't fucking matter to me. I honestly don't care. Overall, this was a decent episode. We got the same characters over and over again, so I mean, it's not really there's no buzz about these WWE programs, so it's a decent show. It's not a bad show. And SmackDown Live, I would say, is an overall better show than Raw in the past like several weeks. They're producing like this watchable, like really tolerable show, but it's not must-see TV. And so I can understand like a young 15-year-old kid who could be a potential wrestling fan spending more of his time just playing video games instead of watching SmackDown. You know, and nobody really wants to watch WWE anymore aside from like die-hard fans and the old-time fans that grew up in the late 80s and in the 90s that watched it back then. Like, I grew up in the 90s era, so it's like I love the Attitude Era, late 90s, 97, 98, 99, 2000, that was my shit. And then so my fandom came from that. Like, I love that era, so I still like wrestling because of that fucking like generation. But the younger people today, it's like, why should they care about wrestling now? It's like, why should they care about this wrestler or that wrestler or the fucking storylines when there's no buzz behind it? There's no amazing thing going on. There's so many like options for entertainment now. Streaming movies and YouTube and social media, the internet, video games, countless video game consoles now. Different things that young people can do instead of watching SmackDown Live. So that's it for this episode of the Review Space. Check out the channel for more WWE related and wrestling related topics. Subscribe and all that good shit. And until next time, peace.